welcome to In the Zone. I am Craig Zimmerman, and with me is number 85 on our list of In the Zone. Welcome to Wynne Westrick. Welcome, Wynne.
Hi.
And you used to be a Westrick, but you are now Wynne Achatz.
Yes,
That's right.
so I married from the real estate family into the pie family.
There you go, there you go. So, when I called you to be on my show here, I thought, there's just so much synergy amongst our families and time going back generations. We had to sit down and have a talk.
Yes, well, we do.
So you were born and raised
right here in Marine City.
Yep.
In fact, the cabinet shop uptown by the beach is where I learned how to walk at 8 months old, because my grandparents owned that, and it was a little pub, a bar restaurant, and I learned how to walk in there at 8 months old, and my parents lived just catty corner from there in a house. So that was my first house on the river. We had 5 as I was growing up.
Was that the houses that one of the Hollands owned, or right in there?
That was the house that is now a city park.
Okay.
There's my father's office remains with an attached garage, and that is a residence now. But originally, where our family, the first house was, that's now a city park.
Okay. That's fascinating, going back all those years.
It's right next to the Bruce Beaton office.
Okay, yeah. So your mother, father, siblings, there's a whole bunch, so let's talk about them.
Well, my mom and my dad are both deceased, of course, but they got married, and 1 year later, I was the birthday anniversary. I was my dad's 36th birthday present and my parents' first anniversary present. Okay. So I came, and then I have behind me, we had 8 siblings, 6 now of which are still alive. Okay,
so your mother and father were Gordon and Shirley.
Right.
And Gordon was in the real estate business for a long time.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Well, he got in the business helping out his dad at 18. And his dad, so my great-grandfather started the business in 1889. And then my grandfather took it over. And then my father went into it, and then he went off to war, and he came back and was in it. But just to say how long ago that was, my dad's real estate license was 1536.
Okay.
So that's, and now my license is 153558. So I'm like there. Now they're in the 3s, so that's just how the business has grown. But my dad took it over, and at that point it was Westrick Builder Supply and Real Estate Company. So they did both. They built houses and then they sold them, so they had to have both licenses.
What years would that have been roughly?
That would have been from 1889 to 1960.
Oh, okay.
And then in 1960, my dad, the city wanted where my dad's office was located, they wanted that for a parking lot and park. So they negotiated with my dad for that property, and my dad took the property where we're at now from the city, which was a city corner. And that's why our office is diagonal. Yeah. We can't really do that. It's against building code, but cities can make their own rules. So my dad got that for his little office, and that was in 1960. Okay. And my grandfather passed away, my dad worked with him, and he passed away in 1955, or 1954, and then my grandmother passed away in 1956.
And for people that don't know where the real estate office is, it's on the corner of
West Boulevard and Parker, across from the fabulous MC Grill.
Yeah.
And can't miss it, because I have an antique wagon out front
that says you can't do business from an empty wagon.
That's right. And you can't.
Right.
If people don't come to you, how can you help them?
Right.
Right? So, yeah.
And I can remember that as a kid, that's been there forever.
It's been there since 1960, and I think it was at our other office too out there, but I don't remember that as well.
Sure.
But in 1960, I was in school, and I walked there from school, so I became more familiar with it. And the funny thing was that wagon that was originally there was from 1926, and about 3 years ago it just fell apart from age. So my son found the identical wagon on Facebook in Yale, and he bought the wagon and took the old wagon and that wagon he bought and put them together. And made the wagon I have now, and that wagon was from 1929, so it's still pretty antique. But it wasn't outside like our wagon was every night. So this one's now getting weathered because it's outside all the time. But yeah.
So now, where's the homestead that you grew up in?
Well, I grew up, first of all, in Marine City on South Water. Then we moved down across from Holy Cross at 671 South Water.
Okay.
And then we moved on River Road next to Dr. Korvalak, and we lived there in 1981 South River Road. And then the family kept growing bigger. So when we got to children number 6, they bought Congressman McLeod's house down the river a little bit further across from where Shangri-La Trailer Park is. And so from age 11 on, I grew up there, age 10. I think we were 10 when I moved there. So we lived there until I graduated. Well, yeah, the year I graduated, and then just moved around, graduated, started going to college, decided to get married instead, flew out to California, got married.
Okay.
The rest is history.
Okay. And you went to high school at Holy Cross?
That's correct, Holy Cross, all 12 years.
And did your husband go to school there too?
Yes, he did.
Okay.
That's how we met. I was in 4th grade, he was in 5th grade. We met on the playground.
Okay.
His cousin introduced us, and I guess that's what happened.
There you go, exactly.
Yep.
So when you were in high school, did you have any idea that you would go into the family business?
I was not going to do this.
Okay.
I was not going to be in real estate because it takes all your time, a lot of money, and you're just always going. And I wanted to be a teacher.
Okay.
So I was going into the teaching business, teaching college education. I was going into that at college when I got married, and then, life changes you, and you go on, and you have to follow God's will. And we had our oldest daughter was at age 7, passed away, and the doctor says, well, you need to get a job. You need to get out of that house. And we talked about it. My dad and my brother said, all right, come on, sis, it's time. So my husband and I got our real estate licenses.
Okay.
And that was in 1977, 78. And here I am.
Okay.
2.5 years later, I was a broker and managing the business. And then when my dad passed in 2003, the business came to me. But I was not given the business. I had to start buying the business in 1988 at $500 a month.
Okay.
You don't get anything unless you earn it.
Gordon had some rules.
That's correct. We had to earn everything.
Sure.
So I used to start paying him $500 a month. And then the idea was when I pass, the business will be yours.
Okay.
The business and the house next door, because we used that house for our parking lot, so they kind of went together. So I got a rental and a building out of it, and of course the business, but I earned it.
Yep.
I worked hard.
So tell me about the real estate business, as we know that it's pretty much a 7-day business.
It is.
Yeah.
7 days a week, 24 hours a day sometimes. So at 10 o'clock my phone goes off, and it doesn't go on until 7 in the morning.
Okay.
And when it goes on, I check my messages. There's nothing really urgent. I wait till I get to the office. And the people that may need me, like my family or immediate friends that may need me for an emergency, they have our home phone number.
Yeah.
So they can call me at home. Otherwise, you got to have a little bit of time.
Sure.
So that's how I manage that. And then other than that, if I'm on vacation or I'm busy, I will still answer the phone and I say, okay, I'm occupied, or I'll tell them what I'm doing, and may I call you back? What's a good time?
Sure.
But my claim to fame is I always call back.
Right.
Nobody sits and waits for me to call.
That's always been a pet peeve of mine when people talk about that type of thing. I say you call them as immediately as you can.
Right.
Even if you're not able to give the answer, you at least follow up correctly.
Right.
And if you don't have the answer, let me get back to you in the next 24 hours.
Right. And
It's always a good way to leave it.
that's exactly,
Yeah.
Craig, what I do. I say, I'm tied up right now. I'm with a client, or I'm with my family, or we're out to dinner. But you know what? I'll be happy to call you back as soon as I can. And a lot of them say, okay, we can call me in the morning, or when you get home, or you know what, it's late, call me tomorrow. Everybody's really polite about it, but the idea is they know they're being taken care of.
Right.
And I guess I have to say I've probably missed a time or two over my career, but not many.
Right.
And I have a lot of people tell me that that's why they keep coming back to me, is because I always answer the phone, or I always get back to them.
Right. Yep.
People are important.
Yep. So give us some numbers here of a vast family, the names.
Oh, well, there was myself, then my brother Mike,
Yep.
Gary, Jeannie, Mary Catherine, Jimmy, and Mary Yvonne.
Okay.
So that was 8 of us. Then Mary Catherine died as before she was a year. And then we all graduated. My brother Michael got into the business shortly after graduation. He went into the Navy.
Right.
When he came back, he got into the business. And he wanted to go back into the Navy, but my dad needed his help. So then Gary graduated, and he went to school, and he went to school and helped Dad, and then he got into the business. And then, of course, there was Jimmy.
Yep.
The apple of everybody's eye, little Jimmy. He was born in the business. He was at that office with my dad every day. He loved it. And in 18, he had his real estate license, and at 20, he was a broker.
Yep.
He was the best. And he probably would have had the business because he just worked there. He was in Florida when he was killed in a car accident. He was in Florida trying to put up an ancillary office down there with my mom so that he could carry the business to Florida too, but that wasn't in the plan. So, and it's funny because when I was in 3rd grade, our whole family moved to Florida to start the business in Fort Lauderdale to be by my mom's parents, my grandparents. But my dad's mom was up here and they couldn't leave. So he ended up abandoning that project, and a year later we all moved back to Marine City.
And it's funny how with a large family like that and all things going on in different corners of the earth, but you can remember little bits and pieces of each little thing, right?
Yeah, right. So when God provided for me to get back into business after my daughter passed away at 7, I had to do this, so we got our licenses, and I got into it, and it was nice because my dad and my brother said, okay, you can bring the kids to the office. You don't have to have a babysitter. So we have a kitchenette and living area. You can bring them. They can stay back there. So that's what we did. And Jacob went to school, and then next thing you know, Jamie's in school, and Calvin's mom and dad watched them sometimes too, but it all worked out. And then my dad, when everybody was busy, he'd pick them up from school, keep them at the office if I was out and about. It just really worked out well. But my brother Michael was so elated when I got in the business. A week later, he said, I'm going back in the Navy. That's my career. So that was his real estate career, was in the Navy. So he retired from the Navy, and he lives in Portsmouth, Virginia with his family. And then his grandson, Emerson, is in the Navy. So, and that carries on because my mom's dad was in the Navy, a lifer in the Navy, probably he was always in the Navy as far as I knew till the very end. So, so that worked out good. And then Gary decided, I really don't like this real estate business. It takes too much out of you. I'm going into mortgage.
I was just going to say, so what's he do? He goes into the mortgage business,
He went into the mortgage business, right? And he did that for years and years until we had all the foreclosures and the tear down, and he could not bring himself to do some of the things that some of the banks wanted him to do. He couldn't do it. He was not that kind of a person. He couldn't do it. So he got out of that and did some other things. And he's out right now. I'm not sure what he's doing, but recently he worked at Cabela's, and he works at different places. He keeps himself busy too. So
he's still in Port Huron, I believe, right?
No, he lives in Marine City.
Oh, is he now?
Yeah, he lives in Marine City.
It's funny, I haven't run into him.
Yep. Yep, he lives in the Compass Point condos. Right there by my office. Yep. And then Barbara is right now in the restaurant business, and Jeannie is in art. She sells art, paints and sells art, and Mary's doing her thing. So we're all doing something.
And your mother's maiden name was
Peltier.
Yep. Right, okay.
Peltier, yep. And she was 18 when she married my dad, and he was 36, so twice as old, right? And had all these kids, and she sewed for us, cooked for us, did everything. And she was in the Daughters of Isabella, and she was in that with your mom.
Yes.
And it was funny because your dad and your grandfather and your great-grandfather had that wonderful Zimmerman's Market where everybody that loved meat got their meat. And so when my mom got in the Daughters of Isabella, she and your mom got together, and your dad donated the meat for the monthly meetings, and our moms cooked the dinner, and everybody brought a dish to pass, and it was a potluck. And
that was probably back in the 60s.
Yeah.
Started
in the 60s. It was pretty much about 8 years in the 60s, yep. So that's what they did. So, but our moms were always, and so were our dads, they were always involved in community things, and always were doing things, helping other people, doing a lot of things for other organizations. So somehow that's how I grew into it too. And, my dad said, it's not all about selling real estate, it's about helping others.
Right.
So, in fact, I was in the business, and the first year I had a license, I could work in the office and I could do showings for him. But he wanted me to get my appraisal license. He wanted me to get a business degree in real estate. He wanted
cover all the bases.
He wanted to, so I knew what
yeah.
I was doing. He didn't want me just going in there and fudging it.
Winging it, right?
Yep.
Exactly.
He wanted me to be a professional. So I did that, and I started with volunteering on my board of realtors in '82, and I was on there to 2012.
Okay.
2010, 2012, right in that neighborhood. And I was on different committees. I was our board president, chapter president and state president for the Michigan Association Women's Council of Realtors. I traveled all over the U.S. for realtors. I taught. I know nothing about technology, really, but a smart person hires a kid from the high school
there you go.
to do that.
Exactly.
So in 1999, that's what I did. I hired somebody from 96. I hired somebody from the high school to help me learn how to do technology.
Emailing and all the technology.
Yeah,
right?
and how to make it work, right?
Mm-hmm.
He taught me well. So then, next thing you know, I became what was called a cyberstar, and we traveled around the nation. There was 2 or 3 of us at a time with our mentor, Alan F. Hange, from the Certified Residential Council of Realtors, and we taught other people how to use technology. And the reason he chose me was he liked the way I did it. I hired someone else.
Yeah.
I didn't kill myself on
Right.
it. I just hired someone else. They taught me what to do, and I made it easy and made it fun. And he liked my attitude on that. So he says, I want you to show people how they can do it. They don't have to know anything about it. So that's kind of how my claim to fame on
Well,
that.
some of the stuff, like especially when in your profession, the technology sort of goes by the wayside. They think it's always been that way. But no, I remember the books back in the 80s.
Oh, the MLS books, yeah.
A book would come out, every couple weeks?
And people drop in the office, can I look at your book?
Right. And you're looking for a house through the book.
Yeah,
like,
right.
you explain that to a 25-year-old and they won't believe you, right?
No, they won't, no. They know we got it on there's a couple programs out there. Real Estate One has a program called First to Know, and there's a couple other companies that have these programs that the people that enroll in this under you know about it sometimes before you do.
Sure.
And I'll get a text now and then, can I look at this? I don't
Hold
see
on
it
a
yet.
minute.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. But so it's there, and I've learned how to embrace it
Sure.
and make it work for me, and keep it fun and not too stressful.
Well, and if you look at, again, that technology, okay, 30, 40 years ago, you looked for a house, you went through the magazine, and you looked at the
MLS.
book, and you looked at it.
They didn't have the book when I got in real estate.
Right.
No, you called each other up.
So I
and
got
you
a
ran-
listing.
Yeah, and we didn't even have fax machines when I got
Right.
in the business.
Right.
So when fax machines came out, that was a wonder because we didn't have to run so much. And now we have email, and it's
Right.
like we're not running at all, but we're doing a lot
Well,
more other work.
You think too, okay, remember back when you got the Sunday Times Herald
Yes.
back in the 80s?
Pages
First
and
thing you did
pages
was you went
went to the
to,
real
like,
estate.
some people were looking for cars, so you went to look at the cars, and then 3-4 pages back, you had real estate, and every real estate company had their listings,
Yeah.
and every real estate company had their open houses for that Sunday in the
Yeah.
Times Herald. That's gone away.
Yeah.
There's none of that.
We don't do any of that.
Yeah.
No, that's not it. Now, if you're going to hold a house open, you put it out, and then you hope it doesn't sell before you have the open house.
I get a kick out of, just because it's my nature to check up on Realtor.com. I'm not buying anything,
Yeah.
but I'm looking just to see. And now you even see coming soon.
Right.
So a house you might be signing a listing today, you might put as coming soon. Maybe it's coming, maybe you're going to make it live on Thursday afternoon. And you want your phone to ring so that you've got a couple showings when it opens,
away.
right?
Right. Well, and the other thing is too, people now they still go and look, but they like the more plan. You know.
Yes.
So let's see let's see where we're going to go looking for houses this weekend. Let's see what's on the market. So a lot of sellers aren't quite ready to put it on, but they'll let you put it in coming soon, so you can grab a buyer.
Sure.
And either the agent, their agent, or you, they'll contact or they'll come to the open house. Now, how I do it is if the buyers that come to the open house have another agent, all they have to do is show me that agent's card. I take it, write their name on it, and I contact the agent and say, your client was at my open house.
Sure.
Because in my honest opinion, if we're fair to each other and we all work together, somebody's going to do the same thing for me.
Right.
You know, it doesn't matter. The idea is we're working for the seller. We want somebody to buy it.
Yep.
We want the highest and best buyer.
And when you think about the technology too, it's made the job, I won't say easy, but easier in the sense that instead of maybe showing somebody 12 houses, you might only have to show them 3 because they already eliminated some by saying where they're located, if it's on a stone road or some of that.
That sometimes is true, but I still, all these years later, when they call me up and they want to see some houses, I said, I'll be happy to set the appointments. When do you want to see them? But before I set the appointment, is there any way you can drive by some of these or all of these? Because 9 times out of 10, you're either going to love it or you're not going to like the location. That location.
That's a big thing. Right?
So check it out. Or maybe you love the house, but when you get up and you see it, it needs way too much work that you can't manage it.
Sure.
Others love it because they can do
That's
that.
what they want to do, right.
Right. They like the price and they'll do that work. They want to make it their own anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Right.
I mean, I sold a really nice house down on South Parker Street a couple years ago. And it was recently sided, I would say within 3 years. And the first thing the buyers did was tear all the
Change
siding
color.
off, put on gray siding and a new roof.
Right.
So.
It's on the eye of the beholder.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So you just don't know. But the idea is get them out there, let people see, let them make their appointments, let them come and ride through. And I think only twice have I sold sold to a buyer that came to an open house, though, that house.
Right.
And that's in all the years I've been in
Right.
real estate. Because typically they're trying to get a feel for the market.
Sure.
But sometimes you pick them up as clients for something else.
Yeah, sure.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
So let's step back and talk about this guy that you met, that his name is Kelvin.
Oh.
And let's talk about that.
The husband.
Yeah.
He's a saint. Anybody that can put up with my schedule is a saint.
Okay.
Well, because, I leave early. Sometimes I leave as early as 6:30 or 7. Sometimes I get home as late as 8, 9, or 10. And sometimes I try to reserve my weekend time. For sure, 98% of the time, Sunday morning, get up, go to church, either bring breakfast or come home and make breakfast, and then not leave till 12 or 1.
Sure.
That's a given. But, and that's Sunday, kind of keep holy the Sabbath day,
Yep.
right? But then, other than that, Saturdays I'm trying to lay back on it.
Mm-hmm.
But still, you got to go when the clients are available.
Yep.
And right now, they can't take time off work.
Right.
There's too many people that want a job. So you got to kind of work around their schedule.
How about a guy like Kelvin that works at a place for a little bit of time before he retired? How
45
many?
years.
45 years. It's unheard of anymore, right?
Yeah.
45 years in the same spot
Yeah.
consistently.
Consistently,
Yeah.
yep. And he'd get up and go to work, and I'd get up and... When the kids were little, when Marine City High School had the pool open, they would get up, they would get on the bus at 6:30, 6:45, because they went to Holy Cross. And then they would get on the bus, they were the first ones on. Then I would go to the pool for 7 o'clock and swim. And then I'd get ready and go to Mass at 8 o'clock. That's the Mass that they were at. Well, that was the olden days. Now they have Mass once a week. But
Right.
that's what I do. And then I'd go to work. It was a no-brainer. Then as they got older, we weren't doing that anymore. But they'd go to a school, and I'd leave and go to work.
Okay.
And I try, I'd like to be home at dinner time. But in our house, now with the kids gone,
Right.
Calvin doesn't like a big dinner. He likes a light dinner. So he does his thing all day, and then if I'm not there, he'll find something to eat in the fridge.
Yeah.
And when I cook on Sunday, I cook enough that we've got a couple extra meals right there. So sometimes I bring home, and he likes that too, takeout.
Now, where you live on Marine City Highway, how many Achatzes live in a row there?
Just 2 right now.
Okay.
There's, there was Calvin's parents, and there was Calvin's sister, and then there was us.
Okay.
Then Calvin's parents built over here, and we sold that. And then my husband's sister, Carrie, passed away in 14, and eventually he sold and moved to Florida because he
Okay.
was retired. And then the grandparents were both gone, and finally they decided to sell that, so my son bought that one. So
Okay.
now there's us and Jacob next door.
Okay.
Yep, and then my daughter lives in Saline.
Okay. So that's sort of Achatz Row there, I'll call it.
It used to be more, yeah, but it's
Yeah.
us. We're there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're there.
Okay.
And we keep the fire fueled or whatever. We're always burning trees and
Yeah.
brush and...
So tell me about some of the other organizations you belong to, because I'm sure that it's just not real estate only.
Oh, it's not. I'm a Rotarian,
Okay.
and I'm on the Holy Cross Educational Fund, and I'm on the Holy Cross School Board for elementary school. I am a lifetime Girl Scout.
Okay.
I'm in the Daughters of Isabella. I'm in the Marine City Chamber of Commerce. Speaking of which, Maritime Days is coming up.
Yep.
If anybody out there, will this be aired before the
Yeah.
first weekend in August?
Sure.
Well, we are looking for volunteers, especially male volunteers, to help set up and take down. Anybody want to contact me at my real estate office or find me on Facebook, I can send you a link to the Sign Up Genius. Anybody's welcome to volunteer. Doesn't matter who you are or where you're from. I have a girlfriend from Florida who's home for the week, and she's going to help me. So
Still do the car show on Sunday?
car show will be on
Okay.
Sunday. There's going to be a pig roast on Saturday night. There's going to be, or is it Friday night? Let me think. Oh, there's a pig roast one night.
Okay.
Oh, the pig roast is Friday night. Saturday night, something else. Sunday's the pancake breakfast and cocktail contest.
Okay.
And that's all in the festival tent. And then Saturday is all day for the littles. The whole front Water Street's going to be pretty much closed down, and there's going to be games and 3 little rides, bounce house, pizza, and they buy their little coupons at
Yep.
one of the places uptown. I think in front of Bachelor Real Estate, they're going to have, if you have credit cards, you'll go to that booth. Otherwise, there'll be 2 other tents uptown where you can buy the wristbands. And I think that's going to be a really great day. We're excited. We're looking forward to a great turnout. I know that Tammy Grammer's worked so hard on making this such a success. There's a parade.
Okay.
The parade is Sunday. The boat parade is Saturday night.
Okay,
And
yeah.
the fireworks is that Saturday or Friday? I forgot my schedule. You'll have to
We'll figure it out. It'll
go
be all
online.
over,
You'll
yeah.
find out. But there's fireworks. There's a boat show. The boat parade's going to go right into the fireworks.
Okay.
And I just think it's going to be a great event for our town, our community. I mean, I remember when I chaired this, and that would have been like in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was a lot of work.
Right.
Now, and Sunday from 2 till 4:30, we're going to have bingo in the festival tent.
Okay.
And I don't know how highly that's been advertised, but that'll be any of you bingo players that want to come. It's $1 a sheet, so you can spend as little or as much as you want, and there'll be lots and lots of prizes.
Okay.
So that'll
Then
be
we've
good.
got another, separate from that, I know
Uh-huh.
we've got the Battle of the Bands coming up in August as well.
Right, and even during our festival, there's going to be 4 bands
Okay.
that are going to be in the festival tent, and it's for 2 hours, and they're all going to have their time. They're playing together, playing separate, so that'll be good. And you got the Battle of Bands 3rd week in August,
Yep,
I think,
yep.
right? And then what else is going on? Festival weekend. The Knights of Columbus is having their all-you-can-eat their breakfast, and their breakfast is going to be at the Holy Cross Activity Center after the 7:30 and 9:30 masses until 11 or 11:30. And then there was something else going on that weekend too. There was a lot going on. Yeah.
I was just downtown today, and I was talking to a few people, and somebody made the comment about how busy it is downtown. And if you remember back to the 80s when there was nothing going on downtown, it's pretty fascinating to
Right.
see. You turn the corner at Broadway, and you see nothing but a sea of cars all lined all the way to Holy Cross,
Parking.
basically.
Yeah, parking.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Oh, the Holy Cross is going to have parking in their parking lot. They're going to charge a little bit for a fundraiser.
Fundraiser, sure.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
So that'll be available parking for the festival, I believe. There's something else is going on. There's something else going on. It's going to be busy. All I know is it's going to be busy, and it'll be fun for everybody. And I don't think we're going to have rain that weekend either.
There you go,
No
exactly.
rain. No rain. That'll be nice. Yeah.
How's the real estate market in general?
Well, it's up and it's down, but my market has been very consistent. But I suppose I'm so appreciative for all the people over the years that I've served, because many of them come back.
Sure.
I've got
Children come back.
children, grandchildren. I've got one client, I think he's used me 12 times.
Mhm.
He used me several times for investments, and then it's funny because I'm a buyer's agent as well, but typically if it's my listing, I do represent the seller, but I can help the buyer in everything except tell them what price to
Sure.
offer. So I make that disclosure right up front, and this one client of mine, after about 4 or 5 transactions of buying, he came to me and he says, I'm finally going to get to experience what it's like to be represented by you because I want you to sell my house. I want to buy a new one.
There you go.
It was fun. Yeah, it was fun. But I just feel that it's full disclosure. If you let people know where you're coming from and what's going on, you know what? It's not rocket science. The thing is, you're here to help the people. And I go the extra mile by all the organizations that I really contribute to.
Sure.
I have a moving van, and I can't tell you, since COVID especially, I can't even count on two hands the number of houses that closed, and there was no way to get the stuff out of the house, and I do that. And then I would call Robert Ring or the antique store in Marine City, and they would come and get some of the stuff, or I take it for the donation for garage sales, or donate it to Helping Hands or Habitat for Humanity. So the moving van is coming, really. But to me, that's just a little extra thing that I can do that nobody else does.
Sure.
And my job is to make the job easier for my clients because it's so stressful.
Yeah.
You know, and communicate. And I still have a lot of clients that don't do email.
Right, don't do technology.
So you have to figure out that.
I'll print it all out and then.
That you have to figure out that piece of it too. But you know, you just do what they ask and be there. I'm always there for you. That's my always there for you. Whatever you need, I'll try and do it.
So you are, fourth generation?
I am. And if Jacob ends up getting into the business, he'll be fifth.
Okay.
Then I have another young man, a father of two daughters, that is a used car salesman, and he's very interested. He's been with me now for 3 or 4 years, Kyle Vincent, and he hopes to be permanent in the Marine City office too. So, yeah, so I've got good, and if Jacob decides to get into it, that'll just be good for the family. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for stopping by.
Yeah.
Appreciate the conversation. As I say, if anybody knows anybody else that wants to talk about just a conversation, it's always interesting talk. Phone number Paul will put up there in a little bit, 586-707-5811, and we'll see you next time. This is number 85. Wynne Westrick Achatz is in the books.
Thank you, Craig. It was fun.
Yep.
Thanks.